Away with you, evil spirit!
Hey everybody, it's Murphy Gray Hunter, and it is Wednesday, July 17th, and it's about 3:15 in the afternoon. All right, so I wanted to do this tag, but I was looking for a tag that lady Blind Wolf did, but I didn't find the questions, and so I just typed up witchy tag questions, and I found so many. So I just found one that I liked, and I'm going to go ahead and answer this one. And then later on, I'm going to rewatch her video and write down the questions, and then I can, answer her. I think tags are so great because we find out so much information about each other, Okay, let's start off with the first one. When did you first find, this one, I'm sorry. This tag here is by Alvine Green, and it's called What Kind of Witch Are You? And I think she got this from a couple of other witches as well. All right, number one, when did you first know you were a witch? Okay, so for me, I grew up in a household of witches, my grandmother and her grandmother, my aunts, cousins. I mean, witchcraft was something so normal, like you have a brother and a father and an uncle who all carve wood. Well, in our family, all of the women, we all did witchcraft in some type of way, either was healing or whatever. But for my grandmother, she was more of a healer. They would call her, like, I guess, a curandera. She was like a shaman. She was Native American. And so she did a lot of healing. She was known as the town healer, but then later on came out that she was just really the town witch. But she did healing and other stuff. But I grew up with that. So, but I did not know for myself that I was a witch, a practicing witch, until I was in my early 20s. Because even though that I was raised in a house of witches, I don't think that I could claim that name, because even though I grew up with them and I had knowledge, I was still learning. And I had a lot of my friends who they would dress like witches, and they thought it was cool to wear the black lipstick and the black nail polish and wearing the, pentagrams and all that. And all that's cool and dandy. But when the knowledge isn't there, to me, it's almost like they're just playing dress up, right? And they think it's cool to call themselves witches, but you don't have any knowledge. So you're not really a witch. You're just playing dress up, So I could never do that because I was too poor. I was going to college full time. I was working full time. I had kids. I didn't have time to do all that cool shit, So for me, it happened when I was in my early 20s, when I just started buying little things here and there, and I just started harvesting things. And when I started to actually do witchy things, then I felt like I was a witch. And when I was able to voice it and say, I'm a witch, and I was able to back up what I was saying, because when you tell people that you're a witch, the first thing that they say is, well, what does that mean? You just, create spells like Harry Potter? Like, you have to be able to back up what you're saying. You have to be able to back up and say what a witch is, what a witch does, and what a witch means to you, and what type of witch are you? You have to be able to fully educate someone, because they're not really, I don't think people are really asking because they're super interested. I think a lot of people ask because they just want to poke fun. But there are some people out there who are generally, want to know. So anyway, not until my mid-20s, because I was able to say it and be able to educate someone if they wanted to know what it was, and also, doing it. Number two, how long have you been practicing? Again, I would say, the mid-20s, because growing up, I was very limited to what I could use, and using mom's expensive shampoo and grandma's expensive perfume and leaves that you pick from outside really didn't count. So I really didn't start practicing until my mid-20s, so I could start doing my own. What kind of witch are you? That's question number 3. I used to put myself in a category, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with calling yourself a red, white, and blue witch, a fruity pebble witch, a Care Bear witch, a kitchen witch, a green witch, a gray witch, a white witch. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't let anybody tell you like there's no such thing. You be quiet, because you don't know that. You know, we can't control what everybody else feels. You know what I mean? Like, good Lord, just worry about what's going on in your life. Don't worry about what this other person is saying. You know, so for me, I know it's just those little things kind of bother me. For me, if I was to put myself in a category, I would say that I am a solitary, hereditary, eclectic gray witch. But when it comes down to it, I'm just a witch, a bruja. I'm a witch. I do whatever needs to be done at that particular time. If it needs to be a healing spell, a love spell, a hex, or whatever it is, protection, then that's what I do. It's just a witch. You know, I'm a witch. And so I really don't have a particular, category for myself. But I think that people who put themselves in categories, witches who put themselves in one particular category, I think that's great. I think that's great. You're able to really fully put yourself into that one particular category and perfect that, and I think that's great. I really do. I don't care whether you're just in one spot or you're learning everything. So for me, I love history and I love culture and traditions. And I love religion. And so for me, being eclectic allows me to tap into everything and really, get that knowledge, and have respect for other cultures and other religions and other different types of magical paths, So that way I won't be like one of these witches who come on and say, there's no such thing as white witch, black witch, gray witch, there's just a witch. I won't be one of those witches saying that, because when you have respect for other people's opinions and for other people's practices, you are going to, you're just going to have that respect for them. Like, let them have what they want to have, like, you just worry about what's happening in your house. Okay, let me stop. Next question. What path or tradition do you follow? Again, being eclectic, I love to follow all kinds of things, but I'm very, very, very connected to my native roots. And so for that is probably one of the paths that I follow so much, are my native roots. And it's nothing that, it was just something that came so natural. And not just, growing up, but I think if you're native, I think you understand what I'm going to say. When you are, and I'm always saying native because I don't know what it's like to be, this or that. I only know what I'm feeling. And, so when you are one particular, like for us, we are 53% Native American, and that's a mixture of Apache, Navajo, and Aztec. But the other stuff, we're Japanese, Jewish, German, Italian, Portuguese. I don't really connect to any of my other roots. I really don't. I do like my Japanese culture. My great grandmother was Japanese. My grandfather was German. But for me, it really is my native culture. Like, it calls to me. When I hear native drums, it calls to me. When I see, when I'm outside in Mother Nature, and it's just a certain thing, a certain vibe that you get from the land. I'm sure other cultures that are very connected to the elements and to earth, you guys know what I mean. It doesn't just have to be native. There's so many other cultures that and races that are that are very connected to the earth. So you guys know what I mean when it's like you can feel, you just connect with all the elements. It's just something that's just embedded in your soul. So for me, my tradition is very earthy, very native, very connected to the elements. But when it comes down, like, what path do I follow? I just follow my own path, the beat of my own drum. Number 5. Is your craft devotional, a secular, or secular? Secular. Sounds funny. Secular. How do you incorporate your faith into your craft if you do? Well, I do have certain things that I'm devoted to, like my Santo Muerte, I'm devoted to her. My La Madama, I'm devoted to her. My native guides, I'm devoted to them. My Ganesh. So I am I'm devotional. I'm devoted to them, and and that I incorporate that into my practice. As in, I show each one a particular amount of devotion, meaning that each one gets a certain type of prayer or certain items. But that's how I incorporate that into that faith into my craft. As in, I respect all of my higher powers. I don't always ask for their aid when I'm doing work. So there are times where I do work, alone, where I work solitary, just myself. And there are times that I do ask for their assistance. So, like when I do a road opener, spell, a candle, I will go put it on my Ganesh altar, because Ganesh is one of those that helps you with, bringing abundance of all kinds of things, helps you with opening doors and opportunities. When I'm needing a healing or a protecting spell, then I'll either put it on my fairy altar or I'll put it in my native altar. Or if there's a particular type of spell work that I'm doing and I want to ask my La Santísima Muerte to help aid me in it, then I'll put it on her altar. So it really just depends on what I'm doing and if I need particular help. But even if I don't, I always show my devotion to them every single day. So, number 6. Are you a closet witch or are you out in the open? If so, how do your friends and family feel about your path? I have been open all my life because we grew up, like I said, we grew up with witches in our family. So again, grandma being a witch and great grandma and on, and aunts and uncles, it was no big deal. Like I said, it's just like grandpa being a carpenter. It was just that's so normal for us. But when I did come out, when I started telling my friends, my family was not surprised. They already knew. They already knew, they already knew. I have 6 brothers, and none of my brothers practice. Just me and my sister do. We're 6 brothers and 2 sisters. I mean, myself and there's 2 girls and 6 boys in our family. Let's say it that way. None of my brothers do. But they all are very aware of witchcraft because, again, it was something that was very normal to us. But myself and my sister, we are practicing witches. And mostly it's always been the women in our family. I have 5 girls and all of my girls are practicing witches. I've taught them all and they're still learning on their own. But I think I came out to my friends right around in my mid-20s when I was, working at the hospital. And I think the very first piece of jewelry I bought was a triquetra necklace. And I wore it and I started getting people asking me like, well, hey, is that a Celtic knot? What does that mean? And I just started telling what it was. And they're like, so what religion is that? Or what? I said, I'm a witch. So when I started telling people kind of were like, whoa, like, what does that mean? And some seemed very interested, and some really, no one said anything to my face as far as like, oh my God, you're gonna go to hell. No, nobody ever said that to my face. I'm sure they said that behind my back. But I think that I only had a handful of family that kind of like thought I was and still am crazy, but who cares, right? And as far as friends, if you are a friend of mine, you already know that I'm a witch. Like, so if you can't accept that, why are we even talking? Why are we even having this conversation? That's where I'm at in my point in my life. I've come out long ago, And everybody that I meet, if the pest man comes in here, I have altars everywhere. The pest man comes in here, or when they come clean the carpets, they see it, they ask me, like, yep, I'm a witch. I don't have any shame in my game. I don't have time for that. Either you're going to accept me or you're not. Because there are a billion people in this world. There are a billion people, more than probably a billion people in this world. And if you don't want to be my friend, that's fine. I don't need any friends. But if you do, great. But if you don't. There's somebody else that probably will want to be my friend. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for it. I don't have time for what other people think of me. You're going to go to hell, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Whatever. Okay. Number 7. Are you solitary or are you in a coven? I do run a coven. I run a coven of sister witches, but our coven is very non-traditional, meaning that you can be a solitary witch in the coven and you can do your own craft. We don't have to practice the same type of magic collectively. We don't all have to be this particular witch. We can, we don't practice it collectively. Everybody is respected and honored for whatever path they follow. And so you can continue to stay solitary. So I'm both. And I know some people are like, well, you can't be solitary in a coven. Well, I am. I'm a solitary witch. I practice my witchcraft alone, and I run a coven. And you know what? It works. Just like people say peanut butter and pickles don't taste good because they're two separate things. But you know what? Y'all should try it because that crap is good. May not look pleasing, but I don't know what it is. Peanut butter and pickle. I had to try it. And it's really good. Don't knock it till you try it. Number 8. What's something you wish someone told you or something you wish you knew when you first started? Something that I wish someone would have told me. I wish that someone would have told me that it was going to it's going to be like, what's the term that I'm trying to use? I wish someone would have told me how cruel people could be. I wish someone would have told me that how judgmental other witches, not just people, other witches are or could be. I wish that they would have told me, like, hey, just be careful because the ones that are going to judge you the hardest are going to be other witches. I'm not saying all witches, but you guys understand what I mean. You guys know what I mean, especially in YouTube community, the witch community. You guys already know. We judge each other more than muggles judging us. And why should we? We should have each other's back. But I wish someone would have told me that. Thank goodness I have never come across anyone who's been ugly to me or has said anything to me. If they do, maybe I just don't really realize it because it takes an awful lot to like move my emotions like that. Because I have 5 girls and they've ruined it. They've ruined it for everybody. They've made me like, they have made me so freaking like hard. Like I have like a bulletproof vest, like from head to toe. When you have kids and you've gone through teenage years, especially girls, I don't know about boys, but I only have girls, but nothing that anybody can do or say that's going to shock me. Like my girls have ruined it for all y'all, so y'all can't hurt me. I wish that somebody would have told me that very, very early. It was kind of shocking for me to see how ugly witches can be to each other. It really is shocking. Not that I would have done anything differently, I don't think, but I just wish I would have had that little piece of information. And something you wish you knew when you first started. I wish that I would have known all the hard work, time, patience, and dedication that it takes in learning the craft and making sure that I write everything down and that I've started doing things a lot sooner in life. Like I hated that I waited so long to find my right book of shadows or to start writing things down, you know, or to not be afraid to write in my book, you know. I wish that I would have known that, like, you know what, you're going to go through several books in your life. So don't just feel like you're stuck to this one book of shadows, because probably in 4 years, you're probably going to find something else you like. Or don't be afraid to change. Like, that's another one. I know that it says one thing, but I wish that I would have known in the very beginning that it's okay. It's okay to venture off into other magical paths. You don't need permission from anyone to read, research, and ask questions about other paths. You know, take the time to ask questions. Take the time to read and research. Don't be afraid that someone's going to judge you because you're reading a book on witchcraft and you know, and they're like, oh, you're a book witch. Well, hell, how am I supposed to learn something? You know, I'm just not born with it in my head. So, you know, there's just so many things that question I could just answer. I could just give so many answers, but luckily there are so many good witches on YouTube that really do give great advice. Okay, I'm getting way off topic. Sorry. Y'all like, get with the questions. Okay. Number 9, what resource was most valuable for you in the beginning of your practice? What about now? Okay, I'm going to tell you guys right now, you young witches who still have, if you have family members who are in the craft, I really, really, really suggest that you go to your elders, go to your grandparents, go to your aunts and your uncles, go to your whoever, godparents, whoever. Go to the older community. If you don't have any relatives, then go to friends that are older and get that information for them. They are the best resources. I wish I would have taken that time to really talk to my grandmother and really gotten all that information from her before she passed away. I wish that I would have talked to both of my grandparents, both of my grandmothers, and then my step grandmother. She was a practicing witch as well. There's so many relatives that have passed away, and when they've died, they've taken that knowledge with them. So for me, the best resource is your elders. Go to your elders and ask them, tell me stories, give me information. Those are your best resources right there. Learn life, learn your craft through them. So guys, I'm telling you. And also, if you want to know about your family tree, go to your elders. This probably has nothing to do with witchcraft, but I'm telling you, your elders are your best resource to finding out who you are, where you came from, and if there's any witches in your family, I'm telling you, don't waste time. Both sets of grandparents are dead. Both of my parents are dead. I don't have any more grandparents or great-grandparents, parents. So guys, please take advantage of your elders. That is the best resource. Number 10, what was your first spell and was it successful? The very first spell I did was the one where you take a candle and you take like just a regular candle and you stick a needle. You light the wick and make sure you get a candle that's kind of hard, and you stick the needle through the wick, just a needle through the lit wick. And you're enchanting something while you're doing this. And it's to see if you can get somebody to call you. And I hadn't talked to this one person in a long time. And I tried to find somebody who I hadn't really talked to in a while, so to see if they would call me. And I did. I did that. And this person called me. And the person was like, I don't know why I'm calling you. But I just had this, feeling that I needed to call you, and it worked, right? So that was the very first spell that I did, and I was like, woohoo. But yeah, that was the first one. Number 11, what do you do when you feel out of touch with your craft? I think we all kind of get off balance sometimes, and we all kind of feel like that, where we just feel like blah, like I'm just not feeling it, Usually when that happens, I do take a cleansing bath. I cleanse myself because I always feel like maybe there's some negativity on me. Maybe I got some trash on me that I got to get rid of, right? I'll make sure that I do that. And then I try to get out and be with nature. I try to release everything out in nature and try to absorb all the goodness from nature. Sometimes it's just like having a dirty room. You have your room is dirty. And you go in there and you just like, oh, my room's so dirty. And you just really don't feel like you get a good sleep in your room because it's just dirty piles of clothes everywhere and blah, blah, blah. But when you get your room all cleaned up and everything's put away and your sheets are all clean and crisp from the washer and dryer, you have such a good sleep, at least for me. But that's what I do when I'm out of touch. I cleanse myself because I feel like I'm carrying a lot of trash on me. I do a deep, deep cleansing, and then I spend time outside with nature. And then, I sometimes even watching other videos, other witches, helps to inspire me, to get me going, to get my juices going again. So those are a few ways that helps me. Or watching like Practical Magic or The Craft. You're like, oh, I can't wait to get in my witchy room. Okay. Number 12. Have you ever doubted your faith or your ability? Of course, I think we all have. I think we've all doubted our faith and our abilities as a witch. When you do a spell and it doesn't work, you're just like, oh, I'm a failure. I'm a loser. I can't do it. I just can't do it. But sometimes I just realized, like, you know what? Let's do this again. And so, I've had doubts, in my faith. I've had doubts in my abilities sometimes. And, it's an eye-opening that, hey, if your spells aren't working, you might be doing something wrong, or you just might need to do it again. So I think we all felt like that. Number 13, what are some grounding techniques that you have found that work for you? For me, it's going outside in nature. That helps to ground me. That helps ground me instantly. But if I can't go outside, and ground myself, usually holding crystals helps me. Like, just for me, like coming in my witchy room at night, it's so nice because, I have the little lights and I have my candles on. I can close the door and I can put on some really nice music, nature music or Native American drums, and really just take that time to quiet my mind. And I usually hold like a really nice crystal in my hand and just help try to ground myself. If I'm starting to feel like I'm gonna become a lunatic or something, but sometimes it's just about sitting outside. We have a back deck, so we live out here in the country, so it's really nice at night. It's so quiet. You can see all the stars. They're so beautiful, so bright. And so sometimes my husband and I would just go sit outside, and we just lower the back of the pickup truck, the back part, and we just sit out there and we just look up at the sky. It's so beautiful. You guys who live out in the country or who've been out where you can see just all the stars with no lights from anything else, it's very, very relaxing, very grounding, listening to the noises that go on at night. But those are ways that I ground myself when I'm starting to I'm about to lose it here. All right, next question. 14. What is your biggest pet peeve in the magical community? My biggest pet peeve, oh my God, I have a lot of them, but my biggest pet peeve is probably witches who, oh God, there's two that are neck and neck. Number one is witches who play dress up. Witches who dress like witches. They when you look at them, oh, this person's a witch. They know how to dress themselves up really well to look like a witch, but they have no knowledge of witchcraft. The witches who have all these beautiful things and can display all these beautiful, witchy rooms and candles. They show videos of the candles and all these beautiful things, but don't have a clue on how to do spells. Don't have a clue on how to do a healing spell or a love spell or a money spell or a protection spell. That's a big pet peeve. So I guess to round it off, it's just, I don't like people who play dress up. They play dress up with being a witch. They dress like a witch, and they just make everything look so beautiful and so mystical and mysterious. And you guys have seen people's Instagram and YouTubes and Facebook, but when you come down and you ask them, hey, what is this? You don't ever see them making no spell. The witches that I like, the ones that don't have all these fancy things. They just getting stuff out of bags, and they just putting stuff together, making spells. Like those brujas, those witches. Those are the ones. Okay, sorry, that's a pet peeve. The second pet peeve that I don't like in the magical community is that I don't like how some witches feel like their way is the right way. I don't like those bossy ones, the bullies. I don't like bullies and bossies, the bossy Rossies and the bullies. I don't like those. The ones that feel like, oh, I know the answers to everything. Like my answer is right and you suck. I don't like those type of witches. I don't like those witches who cannot respect the views and beliefs of another witch. I don't like witches who bash each other. I don't like witches who try to put other witches down. I don't like witches who say, oh, you're a phone call. I don't like those type of witches who are just bullies and feel that they can come on and just say, you don't, this and this, that, this is the way witchcraft is, and this is that. I don't like that. Go away. I don't like those type of witches. Those are two pet peeves. Know-it-alls and the fakes. Okay, number 15. What is your biggest spell disaster? I've been asked this before, and I really can't remember. I'm pretty sure I made a lot of mess ups. I was about to say something else. I can't think of one offhand, but I'm pretty sure I have. But I'm super, super careful when I do spells. I make sure everything is, because you have to be very careful. I can't think of one offhand. I'm sure I do. I'm sure nobody's perfect. I'm sure I made a lot of F-ups, but I can't think of one right now. Number 16. What is your view on black magic? My view on black magic is great. I'm a witch, so I do whatever I need to do when that time calls. I feel like I feel to be a very well-rounded, well-seasoned witch, you should know all parts of witchcraft. And to just know white magic, green magic, blue magic, red magic, whatever, and not venture and get knowledge in black magic, I think that you are selling yourself short. Doesn't mean that you have to practice black magic. It doesn't mean that you have to, participate in it or whatever. It just means that you have knowledge, so that if someone should do black magic to you, or if the time comes where you need to protect yourself or protect your loved ones, that you know what you're doing, you know what to look for. So I feel that every witch who wants to be a very, well-rounded, well-seasoned witch should be educated in all aspects, all colors of magic. For me, I love dark magic, black magic. I love it. I find nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. If you're the type of witch who does black magic all the time, I have nothing but respect for any witch. So, yeah, I love it. I don't find anything wrong with it at all. I just feel like if you're just, I don't know any witch that just goes and randomly says, I need a target today. Let me find somebody. I don't know any witches that do that, because if you guys understand what black magic, just like any color magic or any type of magic, it takes a lot of energy, a lot of work, a lot of intention to put into that spell. I know a lot of us are not going to do that just for the hell of it. It's going to take a witch. It's going to you're really going to have to push a witch to that particular point, to where she is going to put in all of that time and energy and work into doing black magic. So don't think that because witches do black magic that we're just all black. We're all bad witches. You're a bad witch because you do black magic. No, it's no different. It just means that if somebody, try not to curse, if somebody messes with me or messes with my family, I know how to protect myself. I know how to protect myself and protect my family. You know, so yeah, I think every witch should learn, have basic knowledge on what signs to look for if black magic has been done to you and how to protect yourself. Okay, don't wait until you're knee deep in it. You know what I mean? And problems and trouble, and you're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Girl, I told you to read that book on black magic. You didn't want to. Now look at you. I know, let me stop. Okay, we're 17. Is witchcraft an everyday thing or is it a special occasion? Again, that goes back to that question with the witches who want to play dress up, want to be witches only at Halloween time. No. Being a witch is something that I do every day. Being a witch is not something that you decide to do. It's not like today I decided to wear my hair in pigtails. No, being a witch is something that it's inside you. You're a witch every single day. From the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, even in your dream, you're a witch. You're a witch. Just like I'm native, I'm this, I'm that. I'm also a witch. It's something, it's just, you never stop being Christian. You never stop being Presbyterian. You never stop being a Buddhist. You never stop being this or that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's part of who you are. It's part of your faith, your religion, your spirituality, you know? So being a witch is something that I am every single day. I'm lost. Okay, here we go. But as far as like witchcraft, I do witchcraft every day. And that doesn't mean, oh, I'm up here like, you know, doing spells. I mean, every day as in I get up and I do my devotional to my higher powers. You know, there are some people that say, you don't need to give your higher powers coffee or water or flowers. That might be you. That might be you. But for me, I show my respect to my higher powers. I give my Lama Dama gets coffee and water every day along with a candle and incense. So does my Ganesh gets incense and candles. My natives get incense and candles. And my Santa Muerte, she's the one who gets the most. You know, she gets more of that. And then of course my fairies, they get stuff. So it's something that I do every day. I don't have to, but it's something that I like to do. All right. And then plus I run a coven. I run that witchling page for my little baby witches. And there's so many other things that I do. So yeah, it's part of my everyday life. And I come up here in my witchy room every single day. Every morning I'm up here and I try to come in here every night before I go downstairs to bed. Because, well, I'm not going to turn around, but on my altar, I always have candles going. And I don't go to bed with candles on. I come up here and I turn them off. I'm like, no fire, no fire. And I turn them off. And I leave lights on for her, but you know. Let's go on to something else. Let's go on to the next question. I'm so bad at text because I keep rambling. Okay, number 18. Do you meditate? Yes, I do. I meditate mostly when I'm in the tub. I really enjoy that. But yes, I do meditate up here in my witchy room and usually when I'm taking a bath. But it took me years to be able to meditate. But I absolutely love it now. Number 19, do you practice divination? If so, what techniques do you use? I love practicing divination. I use my pendulum. I do tarot. I'm not fantastic in tarot. My jam is oracle. I'm a very good intuitive reader and I do oracle cards are my favorite. I can't even speak. I can't work with tarot, but oracle, I just feel so connected with them. So I do what works for me. I do have the automatic writing that I've tried. I have my Ouija boards, but I don't use my Ouija boards. But I have in the past, but I haven't in a long time. You know, I have a family, I have children, you know, I have my child in the house. So I'm very careful about what I do because I would never want to invite something into my house that could potentially cause harm. No matter how careful you are, no matter how much protection you think that you put, there could always be that small percentage that you can invite some chaos into your life. That's why I am very careful with what I do. But mostly I do cards. Let me see. Number 20, moon phases, planetary correspondences, day of the week, hour. Okay, so are they part of my magic? Moon phases, sometimes if I'm doing moon magic. Planetary correspondences, not really. Days of the week and hour, no. In the very beginning, I used to think that it was important that you had to do only money spells on a Friday and only this type of spell on a Monday, and you could only do it this hour. Now I've outgrown that, I guess. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, if that's what you do, but for me, I just do whatever needs to be done at whatever time. Perhaps if I followed those rules, if I followed a particular moon phase or planetary correspondence or a day of the week or a particular hour, perhaps maybe that's just adding an extra layer of magic that I could be missing out on, but for the majority of the time, if I need to do a money spell right now, I'm not going to wait till Friday. I'm going to do it right now because sister can't wait, But what I was saying is that if you do follow those correspondences, those particular days and blah, 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 I think that you're just adding an extra layer to your magic. I think it's great if you can follow those things. But for me, I just don't. I think a lot of that too is like when you're doing your craft, do you need to have a particular thing? Do you have to have all 7 ingredients? Can you just make it work with 3 ingredients? That's something that you have to, that's a call you have to make with your own magic. Not that one way or the other is wrong. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Number 21, spell language. Do you keep it simple? Do you dress it up? Is it poetry or is it silent? Okay. Do you keep it simple? Yes, I keep it simple and short and to the point. Not like my questions. You're like, Murphy, we know how you are. You talk forever. But no, when I'm doing candles, I tell people, when you're doing a candle, especially let's just say a candle, make sure you keep it short and simple and to the point. If I wrote the way that I talk on a candle, I run out of space. I mean, the universe would be like, bitch, what are you saying? I can't figure out what it is that you want. Okay, I'm sorry. Can I just have some money? Yeah, I just keep it short and simple to the point. That works well for me. I don't really dress it up unless it needs a particular dressing up, as in if it needs a particular prayer, then I'll do that. And is it poetry? It can be poetry. I mean, it's your craft. Do whatever you want. But no, for me personally, short and simple and to the point. Get to the point, Edith. Do you remember Archie Bunker? Okay, I'm getting way off. See, so I can't. Number 22. Do you keep a book of shadows or a grimoire? Yes, I do. I have 27 books of shadows. I have 27 books of shadows. You guys already know this. I have all those books. If you guys want me to do an update on my books of shadows, I will be more than happy. But I do have my main book of shadows, which is Beauty, and she's sitting around here. Y'all want to see? Right there. That's Beauty right there. She's sitting right there looking so beautiful. My other books of shadows are in my office. In my witchy room, she's the only one that stays in here in my witchy room. All the other ones stay in there because they're smaller, and I work on those just about every day. I work in my book of shadows because I got so many. All right. 23. Do you have an altar? Is it dedicated to any specific deity, season, or anything else? Yes, I have one altar for my coven. I have one working altar for like just universal working. I have my Santo Marte altar, and then, which y'all just saw right now with all the candles on. Then I have my money altar downstairs. I have my Ganesh altar. Then I have an altar outside. And then I have, it's not so much an altar in my bedroom, but I do have a table that I have a lot of my native guides. And I have another on my I guess you could call it an altar, because I do burn, like if I want healing or protecting, especially for my native guides, I'll put something there. So I guess that could be technically another one. And then my Lama Dama, that's 8 altars. I know it seems like a lot, right? But you don't need to have all those altars. You could just have one altar. Just like you don't need 27 books of shadows, you only need one. But I'm like that. I have the space, so I made all those. My outside altar is when I do like more of elemental magic outside, or something, if I'm doing magic with like the Fae outside, or if I'm doing dark magic, I mostly do it outside. And then my Lama Dama altar downstairs, it's mostly I just burn stuff for her there. And then, but mostly everything is on my universal altar up here. Okay. Thoughts on the afterlife. Oh my God, I have so many thoughts on the afterlife. That could probably be a whole separate video. But let me just say it like this. I have studied and researched a lot of different religious cultures, different different cultures all around the world, and what they believe in on the afterlife. I've seen so many videos of life after death. People have gone to heaven, people have gone to hell, people who don't know exactly where they went, but they went somewhere that was beautiful. I find it all fascinating. I find it all beautiful. And I think that when we die, I think whatever higher power that there is, whoever created all of us, at the end of the day, at the end of time, it's not going to matter who we believed in or not. I don't think that it's going to matter if someone believes in nothing, like if someone is an atheist and doesn't believe in any God at all, or someone believes in Scientology, or if someone is a Christian, or someone is a Satanist. I think at the very end of your lifetime, I feel that you're going to go back to whoever it is that created you. And I have to think and feel this way. I have to hope that no matter what we do in our life, right or wrong, that we have some type of second chance when we go home, because there has to be a reward for us somewhere, I just hope the afterlife is beautiful. I hope our afterlife is filled with love and compassion. Everything. I hope it's like an opposite world of what we have here, because we have just, as humans, we have destroyed such a beautiful place, this beautiful planet, and the things that we do, the choices that we make for ourselves. I'm not saying all of us, but you know what I mean? Like, I just hope that we are all given a second chance and get to see our loved ones again, and go to a place that's beautiful. It doesn't have to be heaven. It doesn't have to be hell, but can it just be somewhere that's beautiful, and where everybody respects one another and no one has any hate, or judgment or drama, can I just be free of that? So I don't want to talk anymore about that, because it's going to go on and on and on. 25. Do you / would you teach and practice witchcraft with your children? Yes, I have 5 children. My oldest is 32. My youngest is 11. I have a 32-year-old, a 31-year-old, a 28-year-old, a 22-year-old, and a 11-year-old. I don't know. I can't draw, paint, or sew, but I can make some babies. So I have 5 girls, and I've taught them all. And now my older girls are learning on their own. 3 of my girls are in my coven, and they all practice something different. And I do run a page called Witchlings, and it's a Facebook private page, and it's where I help parents teach their young witchlings witchcraft. So I think it's great. I think that if you're going to teach your child witchcraft, I think it has to start with the history of witchcraft. I think you should teach your child what a witch is, what a witch does, the do's and the don'ts, so that way they don't think that a witch is like the one from Wizard of Oz who has a green face and does a lot of evil things and causes hurt. I think that if you teach a witch that witches can be everyday people, could be a teacher at school, could be the grandmother that lives next door. It could be the other neighbor who has like 5 kids outside, like just a regular housewife. I think that if you teach your children what a witch really is, what a spirit of a witch, what it really is and what it means, I think that should be the number one. Building that foundation is the number one place to start. That's the best foundation, I think, is to teach your child what a witch is and what it means. So they're not afraid of it, and also teaching your kids about herbs, like the power of herbs. I always tell any witch where to start is the history to build a foundation, and learn your herbs, your roots, your minerals, because if you know what all of those are, the properties of them, like learning if some of them, like rosemary has it's culinary, and it's medicinal. You can use it in spells, you can cook with it, and you can heal with it. So if you're teaching your children, that balance in particular herbs, what they look like, how they grow, plant something, teach them how to value nature, respect nature, respect animals, respect our planet. It's just things like that, what the foundation of witches, Let me stop, because that's going to go on and on and on. I don't know how to answer these questions like that. It's so long-winded. I'm sorry. Number 26. Do you have a totem animal? If so, what is it? What is it? What is it? I don't know what I was trying to say. My spirit animal is a eagle. Okay, number 27. What are some witch books that influence you? Oh my gosh, I'm a book lover. I have so many books that have inspired me. There is one book called The Spirit of a Witch. I do not know the name of the author right offhand, but it's The Spirit of a Witch. I think the books that mostly have influenced me a lot are the ones that talk about building a foundation, about being a witch, more of not so much the spell work, but the spirit of a witch and what a witch really is at heart. Balancing out how we are healers, we are teachers, we nurture our animals and our nature, like those type of books that really hit on those particular things, teaching us how to respect not just ourselves, but to respect others and to respect our higher powers. It's not just about, Scott Cunningham's book or, Catherine Ironwood's books those are great authors of books, great. But I think that we have those books that build that foundation of what a witch is, I think those are the ones that have influenced me the most. Number 28. Tools, handmade only, natural materials only. I only need my will. Anything works if I want to use it. Okay, those are a lot of questions. Tools, handmade only. No, I don't just have handmade tools. I told you I can't make nothing. I buy stuff from the dollar store. I'm not one of those, has to be a wooden spoon. No, if I need to if I need to stir something with a piece of wooden spoon, I'll go outside and look for a tree limb that has fallen, like a little branch, and I'll take the leaves off that and I'll use that. But only if it's fallen out of the tree. I never cut it out of the tree. So if I need like actual wood, that's what I'll go do. But yeah, for the majority, I don't really care if it's handmade. I mean, it doesn't have to be homemade or handmade, or I kneaded this out of dough and I baked it. I ain't got time for that. Natural materials only. Again, no. I only need my will. No. I mean, intentions is the fuel. Is the fuel behind your spell. So, but it's not all you need, but it's like the most important thing. Look at it like a car. You have a car and all the parts, like the engine is really important. The engine and the oil and the spark plugs and the air conditioner filter. Air conditioner is quite important for Texas people. But what I'm saying is like all those parts in the car, all those are important. But none of it does any good unless you have some gas in the tank. No gas, nobody's going nowhere. The car won't even start without gas. So it's kind of the same way. You can have all these beautiful candles and all these supplies. You can have everything. boom, I got everything that I need for this spell, and everything, you know, in a bag of chips, right? But if you don't have that intention to put into that spell, that energy that it's going to take to get your spell going, it's not going to work. So it goes hand in hand. You can't just put intentions into nothing, and you have to have something. So it can't just be your will, and it can't just be supplies. It's got to be together. But anything will work. I mean, like if you, like as far as tools, you know, you can make all kinds of stuff work. Number 29, do you have a magical name? I don't have a magical name. I just go by, a lot of my friends call me Gray. But I don't really have, like, I always go by Murphy Gray Hunter, but like I said, I do have a lot of friends that call me Gray. I've always been called Gray for the longest time. I mean, you can pick whichever, Murphy or Gray. It doesn't matter to me. But I don't have a magical name. I always thought I wanted one, like, you know, like all these people have all these really nice witchy names, but I don't know. It's just, like I said, I have so many nicknames. People call me, like I said, Lady Gray. I have some friends who call me Smurf because I'm Murph, but they'll call me Smurf because I'm short. So they'll call me like Smurf or Smurfy, Murphy. You know, I don't care. As long as I know you're talking to me. Number 30, favorite seasons. Favorite season is, I love Halloween and I love Christmas. So Samhain and Yule. Favorite herb is going to be, I love rosemary. Rosemary is one of my favorites. It's one of those plants that it's like an idiot-proof plant, you know, like it just needs sun, and it just needs water, and it just needs a nice place so it can grow. It doesn't want to be bunched up. It doesn't want to be cluttered. You know, it doesn't like to sit in wet dirt. You know, you just have to give it some sun and some water and a place to grow. And there's so many things you can do with it. You know, you can eat it, you can heal with it, you can use it in spell work, you know, so, and it smells amazing. It's one of those plants that you smell, it just instantly like wakes you up, like smelling like coffee beans. That's what it just really, it's great with focus. So it's my favorite herb. My favorite crystal, I really love, I love citrine. I love citrine crystal because it really does help to balance everything, to neutralize everything. I feel like it's one of those things that keeps everything balanced out. Everything's neutralized. Like it just weeds out all the negativity. It's just one of those crystals that are just kind of good for everything. Kind of like a quartz, you know. But I do love citrine, and I love obsidian. I love lapis lazuli. I own one piece of raw lapis lazuli, but I'm still looking for that beautiful one that just, like, I love lapis lazuli. I want to get a lapis lazuli necklace. I just love the colors. I love what it stands for. I love the name. It's just something about it. Favorite ruin. I don't have a favorite ruin. I'm still learning ruin, so I don't have a favorite one. Favorite tarot card. I don't have a favorite tarot card. Favorite symbol is my triquetra. That is my witchy symbol. And favorite sigil. I don't have a favorite sigil. I do work with sigils a lot, but I don't have a favorite one. Probably the sigil that I use for protection. I have those written on my windows. I have one here, one in my guest bedroom, and then I have one in the back. So I have two in the front of the house and two for the back, and they're for protection. And one is for peace and tranquility. So those are probably my favorite because I just get a dry eraser marker, and you can write them on there. So when you don't want them, you can just use Windex and you can clean them off. But just use dry eraser marker, and you can write your sigils right on your window for protection or for love or peace, whatever you want. All right, guys, we made it to the end. Finally, right? It's only been like 5 hours. All right, guys, that was a long one, but that was a good one, right? There's another tag I want to do, and this one is 40 questions. Lord, y'all, like, I can't. I'll have to do this one like next week because, you know, they're long videos. And you guys are so good. Y'all don't like tell me your videos are so long. Y'all are so good to me. All right, guys. As always, love you all and blessed be. Bye.